Hello, everyone, and welcome. We've got a Division 4 semifinals match here in the Collegiate Chess League's 4th season. This is a matchup between the number 1 seed Université de Franche-Comté, one of our schools from France, and the number 5 seed Duke University's C team here. So I'm excited to watch this. Both these teams are already semifinalists. They're guaranteed at least $200 for 4th place. But if they win today, they're going to move up to the finals where they're guaranteed at least $500 for 2nd place. And in Division 4, if they win it all, a grand prize of $1,000 on the line. So let's check out these two teams that are playing. They just started. I see a couple games underway. Here we have Pokemon Genius versus Bulletus. Bulletus, I believe, is the top board from France. And they've already traded queens off. They both castled queenside. They're both completely developed, both rooks on the D and E files. We have a potential bishop trade offer here. I like white, very solid. This is what you'd like to see if you're a Duke fan with your board 4 playing against the board 1 with a very solid structure. These pawns a little awkward in front of Black's king. Janister's back. Show Mark's game. Mark is playing face to face. This is the board 2 from France. Mark Kolodenko. This is the board 3 from Duke C. One of the fan favorites here. This is a close matchup. 1900 versus 2100. And how is this looking? Looks like Black has inserted a queen check, and White, interestingly, decides to block with the queen. I guess this is to defend the A pawn here, so offering a queen trade. Now, Black would love to put this bishop here, pinning and winning, but yeah, Black's already castled. They got a couple minor pieces left to develop here on the queen side. And White, meanwhile, is about to castle next. So it looks like face-to-face decides to move into the end game here. And Rook D8 played, putting pressure on the D file. Probably we'll see Knight to C6. We might also see B6. B6 makes sense because the Rook is putting pressure on the B pawn. And so the bishop wants to develop but not get rid of the B pawn. So going to fianchetto this way, and that's going to put pressure on the long diagonal. E4 right now is a little weak, perhaps. Oh, going for the bishop trade. That I was not expecting. I was expecting bishop to B7. I think I liked bishop B7 a little bit better. But maybe Black didn't like this light square bishop being on the board for some reason. So this does pin the bishop to the rook. So I don't see if White can maintain the light square bishop. So either they will have to take or they will have to move a piece to defend the bishop. But it is somewhat awkward to take back here with the rook. Maybe rook Fe1 isn't that bad. But it's also awkward to take because then you're helping your opponent develop. There's an alternative here. There's bishop to b5. I don't know if that's any less awkward at all. But there you have it. And they decide to take. I think that was probably the best choice. But what I'm getting out of this position is that Black has a 2-on-1 majority here. This knight is blocking the pawn, and this pawn doesn't want to move anyways because the b pawn will hang. White, meanwhile, has a strong control of the center, and this knight isn't looking too good. So overall, I actually like White's position a bit better. I think maybe bishop b7 and play on from there might have been solid, but Black contesting the c file very wisely. So okay, flight square for the king on a light square now that the light square bishops are off. Lots of time still left in these games. I am not seeing a fourth board though. So let me try to follow the players again. See if we can get them. Unable to, that's funny. It says unable to follow Mark, but I am following Mark right now. Or at least he's playing. It's also saying unable to follow Alexis Gelles. So that is actually France's bottom board, but also their team captain. So let me try to message them and see if they are here. All right. In the meantime, White's king has stepped up. Black has played e6. Is that right? Yep. So, yeah, hard to say how to move forward from here. Yeah, Black's trying to reroute the knight. The knight wasn't going anywhere from here. Perhaps going to d7 to support the b pawn, to support the a pawn push. But knight's not looking too good from d7 either. Maybe they go to f6 to put pressure on e4. It's a long-term goal. Could also go to c6. Maybe to a5, c4. So Black's trying to improve this knight, which makes sense. I would say it was their worst piece there on a6. And now White's pulling the trigger. They're trading rooks. Not sure I like this. Yeah, now they're trading even further. So again, in the long run, 2-on-1 majority on the outside is going to be a nice pawn structure. Favorable position for Black. And I think that White probably should have just left the rooks in tension. In fact, preferring if Black were to take and initiate the trade on c1, allowing for White to take back control of the c file and leaving a rook on d8. But no. We see it the other way around. White initiates, trades it all down, and now this bishop comes back, underdevelops, and now Black's king is coming to the center with the rooks off. It's a bit safer, and Black might be closer. Ooh, I like bishop check, but the king comes to e8, still aiming for the center. Knight c6 here is definitely a move. Attacking this pawn for a second time. So how do we defend this pawn? We have to push it? It's a little awkward. It's a little awkward. Yep, knight c6 played, and now maybe e5 is the move as well. Let's check in with this third board we haven't watched. This is Yak the Tactician. Board 3 from France up against the board 2, Car from Duke. And, okay. We have a fork from Le Tactician. A trade here, and, yeah, Car is going to be going down in exchange. So that's not looking good. And this pawn is very dangerous. So it looks like board 3 from France is really giving the business to Duke. Yep. And this pawn's there to stay. We can't push this pawn because there goes the bishop. What's up, Hakeem? Good to see you. Let's check back in with Mark. Let's see what we missed. So we saw d5 instead of e5. Now the knight goes for the trade. And now we have this bishop cut off from its home. And if Black takes, White takes back with a very nice pawn structure in the center. So black decides not to trade, leaving this D pawn isolated. But now the king will come and join the center. King e7, perhaps preparing for f6. f6 is a really nice move because then the bishop has to leave. That gives the king access to d6. Unless you play bishop b8. No, bishop here, and now the problem is this, and the threat is to go here, and that wins the pawn. In fact, f5 right now, I guess the king comes here, maybe b5 is the move. And this king is just cut off from its own pawn. So I think black can win a pawn here. Your match tomorrow is 1 a.m. That's rough. Did you try rescheduling? Is all I can ask. Oh, this game has less than 30 seconds for both sides. The tactician was doing really well. I feel like queen check. No, but the rook's defended. Maybe rook f or g1. Either rook, I don't know. White's winning. They're low on time though. Yep, so they went here, check. Shouldn't do much though. Just simply move the king. Just don't take. The rook is defended, so you don't have to worry about that. Check again. And now rook here. Yes. And now the idea is to take this gnarly bishop. Check, king over. Queen back. And now we give queen check. Oh, we take here. That also seems to work. Take, and now rook takes this way. And now, yeah, going after these pawns. Take, and then take. Up a whole rook here. Ah, I see Alexis has joined in, so that's good. Okay, checking back with Mark. They can't reschedule. That is really unfortunate. So I wish you guys good luck at the 1 a.m. match time. Yeah, maybe for the finals or the third place match, whatever match you have next week, maybe put it in the Discord channel and ask them if they're willing to play a little bit earlier for you guys. Here, yeah, black is just losing this pawn actually. So Mark is doing really well. Mark has made progress. So let's see. We never saw this f5 check. And after Mark plays g4, that covers against f5. So black missed that opportunity. And then after the h5 pawn break, the king has now entered into f5. And so they trade this pawn, but now the f pawn is passed. Black's going after the h pawn, but white takes yet another pawn, holding on to all these pawns. Oh, but the king is entered now, so it's looking kind of drawn, actually. So black's now going to get a pass pawn of their own. This is dangerous for white now. Yeah, what went wrong here for Mark? So Mark took here, and that's what allowed king e4. So instead, the move here apparently was bishop to e1. There's also apparently bishop to f6. So the two bishop moves would hold on to the position for white for an advantage. Instead, taking on h5, allowing the king to get in. And now, actually, it says black is winning. Somehow. Take on h4. Wow. Mark in time pressure crumbled. And I don't think the idea is to push. You never want the bishop to be able to sacrifice itself for the pawn. This king positioning, though, is going to walk its way up. And somehow the king and the bishop are going to force this bishop off control of the b2 square. So let's see how this works. Ah, bishop here. That makes sense. Bishop back. And now, oh, bishop d4 though. Oh, bishop e3. Interesting. This is peculiar. Mark's fighting on. But Let's see. I thought bishop c1 was the move there. Yeah, and then bishop here. Oh, bishop here now. Yeah, bishop a1 was definitely a huge mistake because now the bishop has no moves. It's smothered. It's a trade, and then this is a pretty routine checkmate. Queen here is mate in 2. Okay. Here, and then queen here is mate in 2. If you're curious, it's the fastest way to checkmate. But face-to-face gets the point there. Bulotis won their game. And Yak won their game. Wow, so France off to a really hot start, showing why they're #1 seed. So Yak held on to win up the rook there. What happened in this game? Oh. Looks like White was down 2 pawns, but no, they were just down 2 pawns. All right, nice. All right, and then we have this 4th game, the last game of round 1. Also, you guys, I wanted to say we should also be live on YouTube. Oof, we don't have the YouTube. Wait, hold on. Maybe it's just YT. There we go. Yeah, check us out on our YouTube channel. This is the first ever restream that we're doing, so pretty exciting stuff. If you guys want to check us out there, give us a follow. We also just got our Twitch channel partnered, so we now can get subscribers for the first time, which is also exciting. We have a couple founders badges still left. If you guys are interested in that, I think we've only had 4 people subscribe, myself included. And yeah, I think partner channels get up to 25 founders badges. So it looks like Alexis, this is up against Kevin Ordet, Duke's top board. And Alexis is already up a pawn and an exchange. So let's see what went wrong here for the Duke player. So they gambited, they played the grob. And now the queen comes out. Strong threats. Take, take, take. The knight comes out. Yeah, just letting them take here. Knight takes, queen takes, and this rook is hit by rook c8, and black's better. But they castle and they allow for the exchange to drop. So that's kind of rough. Here now, hold up. There's bishop h4 double check. Don't you just hate missing good moves, man? Black was better here. Bishop h4, king d2, best move. And then bishop h5. Apparently. Rough stuff. But okay. Black's not in a rush, I suppose. But now there's a move like knight e2. Knight e2 from Alexis, and that will save the king along the e file. They find it. There's still bishop h4 check, forcing the king to move. I don't see Mark playing right now. Plus, this is the last game of round 1, so we want to kind of stick to this. So yeah, I will definitely keep an eye out for Mark's games. We'll prioritize Mark. Here, Kevin under 30 seconds to Alexis's 3 minutes. So Kevin's got good development. The bishop pair. White's king is on the run. The problem is there's not a strong follow-up attack, and White's up significant material. Yeah, there's no queens on the board. This knight wants to come here, I guess, or maybe here. I don't know. So what does Alexis need to do? Alexis needs to complete development. What does that even mean? They need to get the rooks connected. They need to develop the bishop. There's one step. Here's the knights coming in looking for b2. And knight d3 is coming. That'll be annoying. So yeah, Alexis just trying to figure out how to be solid here. They push, and now apparently knight b2 is winning for black. Knight b2. King has to go to c1. Oh, and now knight d3. If the king comes back, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, they take here instead. Oh, and they're going to take this. I thought knight d3 check was the way to go because you get this rook back, and like this knight's also still hanging. But this also looks good. This looks really good. So Kevin, with no time and down material, fights back. He finds the knight b2 check. So what exactly did white need to do in this position? Apparently bishop back to c1 or bishop to c3. Defend the pawn with the bishop. Instead, the house falls and we have a bishop pair versus a rook, but look at these rooks. They haven't even moved. This king found its way all the way down. What is the best move? Apparently king f8. Okay, so king takes pawn. No, going after the bishop. What is happening here, folks? Bishop here. Now the rook comes in, but we have bishop check. King to d8. Only move. Oh, king here and rook there's checkmate. Yeah. Nicely done from Kevin. So Kevin, the board 1, taking down France's board 4. And Duke is on the board. They avoid the round 1 sweep, excuse me. And now we have round 2 underway. And the players were waiting patiently to see the result of that one. They could have started as soon as they were ready, but they decided to wait. And now we have Mark against Bulitis. So this is top board from France. Bulitis solid start here with the white pieces. Mark playing c5. Perhaps at some point trying to trap white's bishop, but right now white controls c4 twice. White lunges with a4, and Mark puts the pawns on dark squares. So this bishop will be here for a while. The knight comes back to e2 and helps support the bishop to develop with tempo. Apparently queen d8 is the only move here for black. And if you go anywhere else, apparently, well, these two squares take it away from the knight or maybe the bishop, but I could see why the queen wants to go to c6. But I could also see why not. Yeah, the knight, that's why you can't go to these two squares, because knight e5 and bishop f7. So Mark finds queen d8 and goes there. And white castles. So black still has to get some development going. Probably e6, try to take away this diagonal from the bishop and open up for this bishop. So probably develop the bishop. Bishop e7, very solid. Bishop d6 also makes sense, trying to trade off this piece. Redevelop the queen. And black needs to get castled. And then develop their other knight, get the rooks involved. The usual. This is a strong French team, and I see now why they're ranked #1. They got some good players. So Duke's got to answer back here. Luckily, the season is not on the line for either of these two teams. They're both guaranteed to play next weekend as well. The winner moving on to the finals, and the loser still gets to play in the third place match, where they will play the loser of the other Division 4 match in the semifinals. I believe, let me look it up actually. That is the University of Toronto versus University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign's B team. So that's a #7 and a #3 seed. Illinois is #3. Toronto is #7. They upset Georgia Tech last week in the quarterfinals. 7-8. Very close. So that'll be a good one to see as well. But yeah, these two teams, they agreed to play today. They rescheduled early. So this is the only match for today. The rest of the semifinals will start tomorrow. And we actually have a couple of matches scheduled for Monday. Most significantly, the Division 1 top matchup between Mizzou and UTRGV. That's going to be a big one. Lots of money on the line as well. So it should be a very exciting weekend for the Collegiate Chess League. All right, so Mark's opponent going into their first significant think tank here. I mean, they thought a while for this trade. And then they played d4, and Mark just simply responds knight to d7. And now we have c3, so lots of tension with these pawns. Black can leave white with an isolated pawn taking here, and the d pawn will be isolated. Same with just taking on d4. Hello to pawns to queens. Turning into cheer on Duke. Good to see you. Duke is unfortunately losing right now. Oh, we have a queen trade. Bishop takes. That's the ultimate surprise. Why not rook takes? Either rook taking to take the open d file. Very confusing play here. All right, taking on c3. Probably white should take back. This was a very shocking move from Bulitis, taking backwards with the bishop. So you're underdeveloping your bishop, you're disconnecting your rooks, and you're not developing a rook to the d file. Very surprising. And now these pawns are isolated. Black's going to simply take one of them back. And the c pawn is now a target. Rook goes to the b file. This bishop is defended by the knight backwards. This knight on a nice outpost square. Not really an outpost because, I mean, it's not defended by a pawn or anything for that matter. But there's no b or d pawns that can kick this knight out. So the knight's going to stay there for a while. Doesn't want the doubled f pawns. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah. So bishop takes on f3 was a threat by black, perhaps. But maybe it was worth it because black would have to give up a bishop for that. So I could understand both ways. So thanks for pointing that out. Voiceless Feather, that is another Duke player, I believe, on the Duke A team, who should also be playing. Duke is doing really well for themselves overall. Not in this match, but Duke, I believe, has their A, B, and C teams in the semifinals in divisions 2, 3, and 4. Very impressive. So congrats to them for making it that far. They're gonna guarantee their club a bit of money for sure. So Duke held qualifiers and you made it on the B team. That's really cool. You guys did that. How'd you guys do qualifiers? Maybe you can give us some ideas. I want to quickly check on the other games here. So it looks like Pokemon Genius is doing well against Face to Face. We had a Karo Khan. Taking with the queen. Now that's the ultimate surprise. What's wrong with taking like this? We allow for this or something? What is wrong with B takes here? Yeah, this just gives up the exchange plus the pawn. That's very surprising. So, okay, here. Probably knight a5 was the move here. Knight a5 and you actually can't even save the bishop. That's crazy. Because this bishop is so strong. You'd have to go here and then you're getting forked. Wild stuff. So takes. And yeah, that's the problem. You can't take with the pawn because knight a5 wins the bishop. Wild stuff. Yeah, queen b3, big blunder from Face to Face, losing a pawn and an exchange. And yeah, so Pokemon Genius should be able to clinch that one out. That's going to be a big point for Duke. Here we have Karkar versus Alexis. So Alexis, board 4 from France, only player to lose in round 1 for the French team. This position looking somewhat even. This knight is going to have to leave, though. But going after the B pawn makes sense. So, white can take on B5, but lose on B4. So white's up this pawn on the outside, but black is pretty close by, and this pawn doesn't have a lot of support. Black has 3 connected pawns. White has 3 pawn islands. So let's see, knight d5 probably the move. So I guess overall it's an even position, but I don't know. I give slight edge to black. So white has to be defensive here to try to hold on to all the pawns. Let's check back in with Mark. So this game, both sides under a minute now. Rook c1 pretty passive from Bulitas, just holding on to a pawn. Bring the knight in, attacking the rook, opening up the other rook. So the c pawn should be falling. Rook back to the b file, and look at these knights controlling all these squares. Rook comes up, rook comes back. Rook attacks. Knight comes back. So Mark's knight's really dictating where this rook on the b file is going. But finally stepping back and now offering a trade. That's peculiar to me. Giving up the bishop like that. Why not bring the knight in to e4? And also, why do we move our knight backwards from d5? These are questions I have for Mark. So Mark loses this bishop. Knight comes back. Why not rook 8? I don't know. But yeah, this pawn's gonna probably hold on for a little bit. Maybe not anymore. Hold on. Oh yeah, rook takes a5 defends that. But they didn't push. Now a6 was a thing. Here now f5 looks forced. Pawn here, not sure what that is about. Why not take on a5? Less than 10 seconds for Mark. He takes. There goes the e-pawn. Knight attacking the bishop. So, even material. Oh, is rook here fork? King steps up. Maybe yeah, knight going backwards either way would have saved the knight. Now check. King's going forward. Rook's coming in. Pawn's pushing. I like the knights, honestly. I feel like the knights are good. Maybe not. Knight e5, knight here. That's hanging if there's a discovery, but there isn't one. Bishop coming back. There goes this pawn. Hold on. King g7? Rook going after this guy? Why are we not taking on f? Oh, it's defended by the rook. Black is up a piece. Black is up a piece. But down 2 pawns. Oh, but there goes the rook. A huge blunder. Huge blunder from Bulitis. And Mark is going to win this one. Oh my goodness. Pokemon Genius beat face to face. So that's a big point for Duke on their 4th board. This should be close to a win here. Up a rook and 2 knights. There goes this pawn. Don't stalemate though. Don't stalemate. I think rook here was mate in 1, no? Yeah, rook h3 was mate in 1. Alright, so let's see. Get rid of the knight. Let's see. Okay, just any rook move. King here is forced. No. Not the best technique, but it's something. Alright, now they know. Easy stuff. So huge point from Mark. And Duke is trying to answer back here. Alright, looks like Karkar is very low on time. But what's happening? Oh, this pawn's falling. White's winning a pawn. Is it enough to win the game, though? That is the question. Very low on time, though. Oh, maybe winning a second pawn as well? King g4 there. Oh, this is a win for white if they know the technique. King here, yep. This is classic. I think you can push. Yeah, king here as well. King here. 5 seconds, though. They're a little nervous. Pushing the pawn only once. You can push the pawn again. Here. Pushing only 1 step at a time now. You can push the pawn again. You got to come back. You got to come back. Yeah. Now push. Yep. Now king here, and that wins. Oh, no! Oh, you messed up! Oh, my goodness. Oh, Karkar, you gotta know that. You gotta know that. That's rough. Kevin won. They're 2 for 2 now. Oh, man. Well, Alexis is on the board with that draw. That's why you don't resign, ladies and gentlemen. That's unacceptable from the Duke team. But Duke comes scoring huge in round 2. They answer right back. So they were down 3-1. And we've got a huge answer back from Duke. They go 3.5 to 1/2 in round 2. So they take the lead back. And they could have swept with Karkar. They could be up 5-3. We'll see if that point comes back to haunt them. I believe so, Jeffrey. This should be the only one. All right. So round 3 now underway. This is the halfway point of the match. Quite a wild first 2 rounds. 3-1 for France in round 1. 3.5 to 1/2 for Duke in round 2. Now in round 3 and 4, the top boards will play the top boards and the bottom boards will play the bottom boards. I think France technically has the rating advantage, but as Duke has shown in that last round, they don't really care too much about the rating. So here we have Karkar versus Bulitis. This is the top board from France, who lost to Mark. in that last round. Is that right? Who did Mark play? Yeah, Mark took down the top board. So we'll see if Karkar can avenge themselves from last round. Speaking of Mark, he's playing against Alexis right now. Alexis Gallus. This is the this is the bottom board from France, but this is their captain, their team captain. And looks like Alexis is just liking these G4 openings. And we saw the same exact opening that Alexis played in the last round. There goes the B pawn, and the knight's going to move, and there's going to go the C pawn as well. Actually, you don't take the C pawn because rook here wins on the spot. So white wisely does not take on C6. In fact, they developed the knight to C3, which blocks the C file. So now the threat is to take here. And apparently the best move from here is knight to E7, defending the C pawn. Rook comes here to defend the C pawn, but this does give up the A pawn. White doesn't take it. They're playing in the center, trying to develop this bishop. Maybe just bishop D6 is a move. Bring the knight out next, and then get castled for Mark seems to be the plan. I wonder if they'll play rook C7 to try to defend the pawn. That would be interesting. Yeah, I wonder why not taking on A7. Oh, take on A7? Is the queen close to trapped? Perhaps. Perhaps not. I'm not sure. Hey, Kiara. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you tuning in. Always a pleasure. We're watching Duke versus France. France has 2 teams in the Collegiate Chess League. This is one of them, Université Franche-Comté. The second team is a school called Central Supélec, which I believe is in Paris. So Mark does play this rook c7. He does want to hold on to the A pawn. And now he gets the bishop and the knight out. Bishop comes out with the pen. I think black should just simply castle, and white will probably do the same. Black asks the bishop a question first, but the bishop simply comes back. Seraph of the Wind, thanks for the follow. Mark also followed, and Ginister as well earlier at the start of the match. Thank you, Ginister. Fan of Mark, and Mark as well. I hope Mark's not listening. But we do appreciate the support. Collegiate Chess League has some big plans for college chess. Obviously, right now, we are in the semifinals. Next weekend is our last week of the season, our finals, the grand finale to our 4th season, which is also our largest season to date. Every season we've been growing, so every season is going to be bigger and better than the next. But yeah, we have some plans during the off season as well. Over the summer, we are planning a bullet championship as well as a bug house championship. I like this queen b8 move. First off, getting out of the pen, but also lining up with the bishop. The threat at some point is to remove the knight, which is defending. Probably bishop g3 is best, because you just want to shut down this diagonal. But you do have to be concerned a little bit about the B pawn. So now this rook would like to move to open up the queen and the bishop. There's still always bishop to g3. Computer likes rook fc8, and I guess just trying to open up the c file, which is somewhat surprising. Rook back to c8 is a little bit more natural, but this allows for bishop to g3, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we're also planning on doing the weekly multi-club arenas. We're going to start those back up. Those are always a lot of fun. All right, knight's coming in to e4, trying to put some pressure on the bishop. I think knight takes is actually going to be good for white because after pawn takes, this pawn's going to be a little awkward to defend. Yes, the knight has to move, but in doing so, the knight will open up the bishop. And this pawn is also now isolated. So let's see. What's the best move? I like knight e5, knight back here. Apparently the best move is bishop takes g3. F5 is a good move for black. F5, just connecting the pawns, holding on. Makes sense to me. And looks like we have that move played. Pawn push. So the queen was defending that pawn. Now the queen's not tied down to the defense anymore. So the queen's free to move. This also just solidifies the D pawn. Computer likes king h7. Makes sense. Whenever you push the f pawn, that exposes the king. So there's queen checks in the position that you don't necessarily want to have to deal with. So just moving the king over makes a lot of sense. I think now is a good time to check in on the other boards and see how they're going. So here looks like Karkar's doing well against Bulitis. Look at this pawn on b7. This bishop holding it down, attacking the rook. And let's see what's happening here. Probably just bishop back. Stay on this long diagonal and keeping this knight at bay. So from here, the bishop was cutting off the knight this way. And from here, the bishop's cutting off the knight this way. So that's pretty standard. Here now, pushing the pawn, making more space for the bishop and or the king. Karkar's low on time, though. So let's see. How do we get at this king? Right now, this is defended. Yeah, black's trying to trade off queens. Makes sense. White should not trade off queens. Why? How do I know this? Because this king is not safe with this pawn here. In fact, black is threatening checkmate, or white's threatening checkmate in one move. So black's going to block the d file. But yeah, this king is very safe. This king is not. So that's why you want to leave the queens on. And Karkar is doing exactly that. Black, though, is trying to harass the queen, constantly attacking, not allowing for these other pieces to really get involved. If white can attack on the a file, which looks like they're trying to go for something like that, that's going to be rough. Black's going to have to defend this way. This knight is tied down to the defense of e8. I guess the rook is there as well. But yeah, white's playing for the tricks here. Let's check out Kevin versus face-to-face. Face-to-face is winning this one. White has the king on d1, so they're not castled. Black is castled. One thing white has going for them, though, is this long diagonal. But this is a very exposed king. In fact, queen g4 check is pretty annoying. Especially if the king goes over, there's queen g1, and you can't even block the check without losing material. That's actually pretty close to game over. I think you might need rook e2 here. Still looking rough. Let's check back in with Mark. Make sure we're not missing anything. Mark very low on time. Up a pawn. But this pawn hit by the bishop, so the knight comes back to defend. Rook steps up, trying to put more pressure, but knight g5 looks annoying. This is a really good knight here on e5. Oh, but we can trade it off. Bishop here. This is losing a pawn, no? But you don't want to give up this bishop is the thing. So bishop takes f1. Now white has to take back, and this knight is looking at these light squares. Very low time for Mark, though. Wait. Oh, he didn't actually take on f1. He gave check. I'm curious why white didn't take that. But yeah, he should definitely trade on f1. I don't know why he didn't, because now he's losing a rook. After bishop takes, he's just losing a piece. Big mistake from Mark in time pressure. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, this isn't good. White can now take on c6. Everything's going to fall. He's got no time. So Alexis is going to get a big point back from for France. Let's check in with Yak versus Pokemon. Naga Prasad, the board 4. So how is this one looking? Okay, exposed king. We had a capture on f6. So, yep, queen to f3. Getting out of this pen, I guess, but also trying to get the queen involved. So the king steps aside, trying to put the rook on the g file. This actually might be good for black. The king also stepping aside because knight takes would have come with check. Although it wouldn't have worked because bishop takes, if queen takes, there's checkmate on g2. So Pokemon Genius is actually up a pawn. What's happening here? 7 seconds for Yak. Very low on time. F5 looks good. F5, and I guess the knight has to come to C3. I don't know. I'm confused. There's F5. Knight C3 is played. Did Karkar draw Bulitus? Is that what happened here? We had a draw by repetition. Okay. And Kevin lost to face-to-face. So Karkar gets back-to-back draws. Bulitus, that's the top word. So Karkar will take the draw against France's top word. But face-to-face gets their second point, and that ties things up at 5. Alexis beats Mark. So they get their first win, and that takes the lead back for France. That leaves us with Yak versus Pokemon Genius. And looks like this game is going the distance. Black has the bishop pair. Rook's attacking the bishop. Lots of pressure on G2. Defended sufficiently. Can we go here? Oh, this is dangerous. I don't know how I feel. Okay, bishop back. Oh, taking here, and that's a free bishop. Wow. Pokemon Genius messed up. Yeah, take that for sure. So now up a clean bishop. Yak gonna take a 2-point lead back for France. Oh my goodness. These rounds are so back and forth. So 3-1 for France. 3.5 to a half for Duke. And France is going to answer back with a 3.5 to a half round of their own. Absolutely crazy. There goes the pawn with check. Oh. Never mind. Does black have any chances here? Not after that move. I don't think so. No. No. No shot. Nope. Nope. Okay. No shot. No, just run this one. So, yeah, round 4. France is going to be up 2 points. Black hoping for a stalemate here. Queen here would be close, but not quite. Let's see. That's main 1. Yak with the big point, and that restores their 2-point lead that they had after round 1. So Duke, can they replicate round 2 and complete the come from behind win? So we've had a couple lead changes here. Lots of lead changes throughout this match. So I have no idea what round 4 is going to bring. Again, I think France is the favorite, but Duke has shown us before that they don't care. Yeah, this game was close. Pokemon Genius just had an unfortunate mistake. They thought they had a discovery on the rook with an attack on the queen, but they forgot that rook takes comes with check, and the bishop was completely hanging. So, time scramble mistake Here now we have Car versus Face to Face. Can Car get their first win of the match here in round 4? They've had 2 draws so far. Here we have the top 2 boards. Ooh, we have a Smith-Mora Gambit from Bultis against Kevin. These can be very theoretical, very spicy. Bishop comes back. Bishop develops for black. Queen to e2. I think trying to get a knight on d5 is a very common motif in Smith-Mora Gambit lines. Trying to open up the e-file. Hey, Halvard, good to see you. All right, it's all down to this. We've got 4 final games left in this match, assuming it doesn't go to overtime. We have Mark versus Yak. Oh, rook take. Wait, what the heck? What the heck is happening in this game? Wow. So it looks like Mark is getting Yak on some sort of Queen's Gambit accepted, where black is really overextending, trying to hold on to c4. Takes, knight out, and pawn push is a mistake. Knight takes b5. A nice shot from Mark to win the exchange. And yeah, let's see. d5, is that a move? Are we going to bring the bishop out to e3 maybe? There's going to be bishop b4 check. That's very annoying. So yeah, how to hold on to this pawn. Not so clear. I guess d5 is the only way. d5, e takes, knight b4. And then our pawn's really looking cooked. Luckily for Mark, though, you can give up a pawn. So you are up in exchange. But black's getting some counterplay here. Breaking through white's center. Neither side is castled. The e-file is open. Black might put a bishop here, prevent from castling. Maybe knight f2. Bishop takes, king takes. Queen here is another idea. So, not so clear. Up the material for Mark. Mark's attacking the knight, but the knight's going to move at some point. Knight comes into b4, pressure on the pawn. And what is the follow-up here? Hey, St. Louis Chesko with a huge rate of 249 people. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What is up, Vampire Chicken? Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. For those of you that don't know, the Collegiate Chess League, we are a league for college students. We've been around since 2020 when we first started. This is our 4th season. Right now, we are in the semifinals. Next weekend is the end, the last round of the season, the finals. So you guys definitely should stick around. This is the only match we're watching today. But we do have a lot of matches tomorrow as well as Sunday and a couple on Monday for semifinals. Definitely the highlight that you guys will want to watch is going to be on Monday. Mizzou versus UT Rio Grande Valley. These are 2 really strong scholarship teams. Both of them have a lot of grandmasters and international masters. So that's going to be very exciting. That's a Division 1 matchup. Winner moves on to the finals. Loser plays in the 3rd and 4th place match. But yeah, right now we're watching Duke versus Université Franche-Comté, which is one of our French schools competing in the league. This is a Division 4 matchup. So the winner will move on to the finals, where they're going to face off for $1,000 prize if they win in Division 4. So if you guys are curious, you can check out the prizes that we offer at this link in the chat. We also have 14 divisions total. So teams are registered based off their average team rating. And then they're placed into a division where they play against teams of similar strength. So we allow for anyone and everyone to join. Division 1, though, is where the most prize money is going to be at. The number 1 overall team will win $5,000. So that is very exciting. I think it's going to go to either Mizzou or UTRGV, although we did see last season UChicago won. They had a quarterfinal upset over Mizzou. So UChicago's still in it. They're going to play against Yale on Sunday. That's a Division 1 semifinal match, so that's going to be very exciting. So yeah, overall, just awesome stuff happening. I seriously recommend you guys check us out, stick around. We appreciate all the follows. If you guys are in college yourself, definitely reach out, see if you can join. We have a really cool ambassador program as well. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. We're sending out acceptances next week. And we have a summer program to announce for that as well, which is very exciting. So lots of stuff happening in the CCL. All right, so right now, this is round 4. You guys are tuning in at the perfect time. Duke is down by 2. But Mark is looking well here. He's taking down the higher rated Yak Le Tactician. Let's check on the other games. Face to Face has very low time against Karkar. Karkar at 3 minutes. Not yet castled though. What exactly is happening here? Bishop here attacking this thing twice, but leaving this bishop hanging. Oh, but there's queen b6. And now black can castle. So face to face with their last minute. Kevin, very low on time. Less than a minute to Bulitis. Bulitis grabbing a rook, and that's going to be the end of that game. So with that, France is guaranteed to not lose in regulation because they have 8 points out of 16. So they just need to draw in the remaining 3 games. And how's it looking? Pokemon Genius looks like this game's kind of a mess. What's going on here? Black has these doubled pawns, which are annoying. So white has the better pawn structure, although white has double B pawns here. But these pawns are contained by this guy. So what's the big deal here? I see bishop pair for white. Low time though. Knight's trying to come in somewhere. Ooh, en passant. En passant. You can't forget about en passant. That's a free pawn right there. Although you'll be left with tripled pawns. Oh, but you win a pawn. Like you gotta take en passant. No way he forgot about en passant, right? Right? I mean, come on. What is happening? Okay, is white trying to play for b4? Because this pawn is pinned. b4, and if pawn push, we have b3. Putting the doubled pawns to good work. Maybe then there's a3. Although I doubt it. I feel like at that point, the pawn's a goner. I don't know. Bishop comes back trying to support this guy, but underdeveloping a piece. Let's check back in with Mark. Look at these pieces back here. What is going on, Mark? Mark is still completely winning. Okay, so hold on. They sack the pawn to castle. Knight comes out. Rook to e1. King here. No idea. If castles, bishop takes with check. discovery on the queen. Rough. King goes here, and bishop takes anyways. Queen here. Bishop comes all the way back. Why not? Can we have not taken on b5? I guess worried about the sacrifice on g3, so the bishop comes back for defense. Now the king steps up. What on earth is happening in this game? Can we get these pieces developed somewhere? Bishop e3, bishop to g5. Bishop to f4 even recommended. Bishop here, pressure on the knight. 4 seconds for face-to-face. So, yeah, Duke is in a must-win situation. 1 second. Oh, my God. Rook's hit. Oh, but this thing is hanging. What's happening? Bishop takes, rook takes, bishop here, skewer. Car. Didn't see it. Playing too quickly, perhaps. Now the bishop's hit. Rook defends. Rook takes. Oh my goodness. White's winning. White is winning. Car missed the simple exchange, the trade, and then the skewer in time pressure. That's a free knight. But white has such little time. Now the bishop can move. Oh, the knight's coming here, attacking the rook. Takes here, but now knight takes b3 with check. Pawn takes, but that's up a piece. Pawn trying to attack. Rook steps up, getting ready to bring the knight back to defend. Rook here, pawn push. Oh, rook going after the knight, but the knight comes back. The knight's hit again. 5 seconds for face-to-face, but they're up. 2 knights versus a rook. This should be a clean win for face-to-face. I don't see them losing this. The only hope is time pressure, but still, look at these knights connected. Rook's doubled. Okay, hold on. Counterplay on both sides. Rook takes. Huge check. Knight's coming into f6, threatening checkmate. Can black get something? Black has to win. They can't draw. No, that's a free draw. Oh, this is game over. Hoping for stalemate doesn't even matter. You have too many pawns. Rook takes his mate, and that clinches the win for France. Duke goes down. Rough into the season. No, not an into the season. They will play again next week. They'll play in the 3rd place match. So, we've got 2 final games left. Pokemon Genius down to their last 3 seconds here. Yeah, that's a fork. Okay, Mark won their game by resignation, but too little too late from the Duke team. So, let's see. Mark won a queen somehow. Yeah, after knight takes, right? Oh, they took with the pawn here? What happens if you take with the queen? Oh. So queen takes. That looks pretty gnarly. Yeah, that'd be mate really quick. So pawn takes. Lose that. All right. Pokemon Genius versus Alexis. Very low time for both sides. But yeah, this game doesn't quite matter. That's a free piece. The knight covered that. Maybe rook check was an idea, but there would have been knight d3 anyways. Maybe pawn push, but doesn't matter. Gets unpinned here. That's a free pawn. This pawn is hanging. 2 seconds for Pokemon. That's a free piece. Missed. Check. Very close to the end here. Take this, maybe. Well, we're threatening to take this guy. Well, the rook would have defended. Well, okay. Rook lift makes sense. They just take on h3 with something. You can block, or you can move. But, okay, knight here was really bad. Trying to set up a ladder. Rook here looked really bad. That's really close. Knight here's mate in 1. There it is. So Alexis, 2.5 out of 4. for the French team's bottom board. So final score 10-6. France moves on to play in the finals next weekend. Duke will have an opportunity to play next week as well in the third place match. Thank you, Janester, for watching. I appreciate it. So just to give you guys a quick recap of what to expect, if you check out our brackets and our prizes, this guarantees an extra amount of cash for the French team. So looking at the Division 4 prizes, with that win, France is guaranteed at least second place, which is $500. And if they win next weekend, they will win themselves first place and a nice $1,000 cash prize. Next weekend, Duke will also be playing. So by making it to the semifinals, they've already guaranteed themselves $200. And if they win next weekend and get third place, they will get themselves an extra $100 for a total of $300. So still something to play for the Duke C team. They will wait the winner of Toronto and University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign's B team. So that should be tomorrow. We still have to figure out the schedule. But that is it for today, for now. Appreciate all of you guys being here and watching. Again, shout out to the St. Louis Chess Club. Really appreciate the raid and the support. Thank you guys for all the follows. So yeah, definitely stick around. Lots of matches tomorrow. Lots of money on the line. And even more matches on Sunday and Monday as well. So this whole weekend, we've got Collegiate Chess League streams, semifinals. It's the end of the season. We have some exciting announcements coming up as well for the off season, the summer, as well as next school year's season, the fall and the spring. So definitely check us out. We've got our Discord where we make most of our announcements. You guys should definitely join that if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it for now. We're going to send you guys off on our raids, so stick around, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Thank you guys so much, and take care.